Welcome back to Back, the sports conversation with a difference. I'm here with Mark Namanya, and we're going to be talking sport again. Most of the sport we're talking this week, like last week, is about the CHAN tournament because Uganda is hosting, along with Kenya and Tanzania, and we are now bang in the middle of it. We have had some games. We've had a lot of action off the pitch as well. We'll be discussing that, and at the end of the show, we'll spare a minute or two to talk about European football because we know you love that too. But now, Mark, let's start with the CHAN. We have spent the big part of 3-4 months talking in anticipation. We're no longer anticipating because now the tournament is right on. And Uganda started with a false start.
Uganda started with a false start, but I'll get to the football later, Mark. Let me first talk about the organization, because CAF actually were impressed with what Uganda managed to put up. Remember, this is our first time doing anything of this kind. And for us as a country, as a government, as a football culture, it was a learning process in many ways, and it's always hard getting started. But we got started, Mark, and I thought Mandela National Stadium was looking magnificent. The pitch has never looked any better than it did those few moments before Niger took to the pitch to take on Guinea. The CAF branding was spectacular, as you'd imagine. And for us as a country, it was very good that you had a full stadium, because when you're the host nation, Mark, you want each and every fan to be at the stadium. And yes, granted, Uganda was going to play at Nambole, but even a good number of fans came to watch Niger against Guinea. So I think it was a masterstroke in making Uganda play the late games in the doubleheader and ensuring that you have all matches which don't involve Uganda start early. So there were issues which we'll talk about, Mark, in the course of the conversation. But ultimately, I thought it was impressive that Uganda got started in hosting the tournament, and CAF were happy with what we managed to put together.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there was a few moments in the run-up, in the months running up to this tournament, where you began to doubt that would be ready because of all the work that needed to be put in, and most of it last minute. There had been so many changes at organizational level, with the schedule, with when the tournament would kick off.
It was even postponed, remember. It was supposed to have been held in Jan or Feb, and it was delayed.
Absolutely, yeah. And of course, there were all the technicalities around putting together local organizing committees in the three countries, and then facilitating them to actually do work and set it up. So there was a moment when you worried that we would be behind schedule or would not even kick off at all. But at least speaking for Uganda, the LOC and everybody involved in that managed to put together the team, to put together their logistics, and to put together the tournament. It was like you said, before kickoff of Guinea Niger, I sat there and marveled at how beautiful Nambole looked, at how pristine the stadium had been made by stadium management. That is Jamil Sawanyan and his team.
Yeah.
But by how CAF had branded it, and how beautiful everything looked, and I wasn't even seeing on TV. I can imagine it even looked better on TV.
I mean, I sat behind the Nambole board chairman, Mr. Barlow, Edward Barlow, and I told him, you guys have done a fantastic job, because Nambole looked as good as a playing surface as I've seen anywhere in the world. Santiago Bernabeu, San Siro, and the Allianz Arena, and etc. So, but let's talk.
And then of course, because there had been comparisons on social media, as you'd expect. Nambole and then Kasarani and Nyayo, the two stadiums being used in Kenya, and then the two stadiums being used in Tanzania, the Benjamin Mkapa, as well as the one in Zanzibar. And somehow, even in the montage of those pictures together, Nambole actually looked more spectacular.
It looked more spectacular. And there are other things, Mark, where Nambole have done well, and I think it's only fair that we blew our own trumpet, Mark. The Stadium Media Center is looking very good.
It's as good as any I've been to around the world, and I've been to many media centers during tournaments.
The media tribune, the mix zone, the press conference area. When you compare with, say, what our counterparts in Kenya, the things they're grappling with right now at Kasarani and Nyayo. I mean, Uganda right now, they're benchmarking against Uganda. So, and that is that's a credit to the part of the LOC. But various other things, Mark, in terms of coming from guest hospitality, coordinating things like fans experiences, the security, in-stadium security and outer stadium security, and ICT. I mean, there is a lot of work which the fan seated out there may not appreciate, because for him he's interested in seeing how Alan Okalo is playing and how Joel Mutakoba is playing. But he does not know that there's been a dedicated team to make sure that this product, the whole tournament that is being delivered to the continent, has had to be thought through by so many individuals at various levels, both at LOC and CAF level.
Coordinating security and protocol and everything involved there was quite the task. But
let's talk about the football.
At the end of it all, everything was flawless in that sense. There were the challenges that were there. We will talk about.
We'll talk about them, but let's talk about the football.
With the football, Tanzania started on a very good note. Great opening ceremony, and then a great show against Burkina Faso. Won their opening game 2-0. And then you had, Kenya the next day on a Sunday. Tanzania started on Saturday. Next day, Sunday, the Kenyans opened with a win against DR Congo. And that group is set on fire as well by the other group game between Morocco and...
Now, you've got to talk about Ruto's commitment to the players. His promise.
It was amazing. I think it was quite the inspiration.
$10,000 per win? Per player?
Per win, per player. Yeah,
that's incredible.
A lot of money.
That's incredible.
And then the Kenyans beat DR Congo. Morocco won their opener as well. That was
Morocco beat Angola.
Angola against Angola, and then so the tone was set, and then all cameras turned to Nambole on Monday. We get that opener. It was like a dress. I mean, not dress rehearsal, but it was a serious game. But everybody was waiting for the main show. And then Guinea beat Niger 1-0, and then on came the Uganda Cranes, and things did not go according to script.
They didn't go according to script, Mark. We were not beaten, we were humiliated by a team which is 4 or 5 levels above us in many aspects. I thought they looked fitter, they looked crisp, their movement, their telepathy, they just about beat us in each and everything. They were better to us in the 50-50s. We looked a disjointed bunch. But I'll talk about Uganda later. But I thought the result, the scoreline had more to do with Algeria than what Uganda Cranes did not do, because we were beaten by 3 goals, and none of them was, apart from the first goal, which I thought was very soft on the Ugandan side. I thought we could have defended that set piece a lot better. But for the goal number 2 and goal number 3, I mean, Algeria showed that they're just way out of our league.
Yeah, no, that second goal, we could have defended better as well. It was, again, also coming out of a set piece. I don't think that our defense set up well. They pulled out, but they did not spread out to cover all spaces. So even if they still had numbers at the back, there was somebody free in space who'd only just had a shot on goal a few seconds earlier.
I thought it was afforded a lot of room. Someone in the box, you don't give him that kind of space and time.
Yes, exactly.
He was set himself up for the shot.
Absolutely. He'd only had practice like 6 seconds earlier, and then he got a second bite at the sherry, and he wasn't going to miss that. But anyway, the spirit of Algeria was quite distinct there, because the way they played the game is they were solid with the fundamentals. Their approach was quite good, and they executed brilliantly. They played so well that they did not look like they broke a sweat. They didn't have to come out of first gear.
They didn't.
And the joke is that, I mean, it's something I said, but and everybody seems to share the sentiment, was that they could actually have played a second game on the day.
Yes.
After the Cranes had run themselves into the ground and lost, too tired to even talk.
I thought at some point,
these guys
at some point, Mark, they
probably could have freshened up and in 30 minutes been back on the pitch and played again.
They switched off when the game was done. They didn't seem like they wanted to really go for the kill. The job was done. I mean, when they started showboating towards the end, it was game done, and I think they resorted to energy conservation for the game against South Africa. But ultimately, I thought that it was more to do with what Algeria, and I've said this, I've been on record to say that any Uganda Cranes team put out there, Algeria was going to beat it.
Yeah, look, when you see how Algeria executed, and you've got to marvel at the fact that they have got we knew what they had to offer. You come into a game knowing exactly what you're going to be grappling with against Algeria, and it still happens to you. Great possession, great movement, great technique, individual and collective.
And they punish.
Yeah,
the senior team punished us a couple of months ago.
And this one's did so as well.
Did the same.
Clinical finishing and everything. So, and that brings back a conversation that we've had for many times, for many years over here in Uganda, about football identity. Because what the Algerian Chan team produced, which is a collection of guys from their domestic league, is exactly what their senior team will produce with guys coming out of France and Spain and England and Germany.
Yeah.
And it is what then you'd expect if a club, say JS Kabylie or USM Algiers or whatever,
Paradou,
if they came on to, and then it's also what you'd expect from maybe Algiers under 17s or under 19s, because they've got an identity. They've created a culture over decades, perhaps a century, of playing the way they do, and that is cultivated from all the way from the grassroots up to the senior team. Where in Uganda, we are still grappling with identity. And it manifests itself into performances of the national team, because there's not a single time that you walk out there knowing exactly what to expect. It's different with different coaches, different with different sets of players and all, which is totally different from Algeria or any other North African side. So, which is, but that's a very long conversation, Mark. So it's best for us to go back to this current team, that performance, and the rest of the group.
Obviously, Mark, whether we like it or not, what we put out there was an indictment on our league. If we're to be brutally honest, because we are not yet up to that level, and that was our best collection of players. And I'll tell you, and this thing has been running through my head, because let's talk about, for instance, the playing surfaces we have. Because Nambole was as best a playing surface as I can remember.
By the way, even our training grounds have been lauded by the visiting teams. Chambogo and
yes, Mark, how many? And I don't want to build so much on this. Like you said, we need to be looking forward. We have Niger, we have Guinea to take care of, and then Niger and South Africa still to come. But how many surfaces in our league compare with Nambole?
With Nambole.
Because the reason I'm saying this, Mark, is that, and I'm on record, when Algeria beat us, and I said it here on Mark to Mark, when Algeria beat us, was it last year in the World Cup qualifier?
Yes, yeah.
Uganda Cranes do appear like they're playing away from home. They are home but away from home, especially with teams which are neat in possession, which spread the ball, which pass the ball, teams of the technical ability of Algeria. And I saw the same with the Chan team. I thought that Algeria looked more comfortable and at ease with their side of play on that surface as opposed to the Ghanaians, through no fault of their own, who have been playing on AstroTurfs here, on pitches which are not as good. And again, if you're going to develop that culture, that passing, crisp culture of the ball, you've got to be playing on a pitch like Nambole, which our players looked like they were alien too on the day. But anyway, that discussion is a long one. I'll talk about the things that Uganda Cranes must do.
Let me summarize it for you, Mark, on the day, because, like I say, the Cranes, I'll start by saying this. The Uganda Cranes lost an opening game.
Yeah.
I believe that Uganda was unfortunate with the draw, considering the kind of group that Uganda have.
Yeah. Tanzania started against Burkina Faso
and Kenya against DR Congo. If Kenya had started against Morocco, they might have struggled the same way.
No, they would have lost.
Exactly. So you see how it is. So a bit unfortunate there. Uganda could have started with a game that would have allowed them to
and you know
better.
What the opening victory means for tournament football.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get the momentum, you get the country behind you. The players will be also 1.2 billion shillings richer, and all of a sudden, there's a bigger buzz.
The bigger buzz. Yeah, look.
But all is not lost, Mark. If we win our next games, we're through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, the president has staked 1.2 billion shillings per game, and it's good inspiration, good motivation. And I think that the Cranes have it in them, even if there's so many memes going around on social media, including that comment from Honorable Ibrahim Semjunganda, which looks
that was a parody account.
Parody. Okay,
it wasn't.
Thankfully, it was parody. Yeah. Okay, but it sounded like something actually he can't say.
he can't say.
But he's a big football fan, and he knows that these things can go against you. But look. They've got every chance to win.
Ibrahim Semujunganda, our former workmate, at the Daily Monitor.
And I mean, he's a huge Express fan, and
unfortunately,
a big football fan,
and a big fan of Nigeria.
So he's my man in every way. He comes from my division. He's my MP. I mean, we support the same teams. Worked in the same newsroom for years. But anyway, never mind.
Are you as controversial?
No, not even close. Now, look. Uganda started tentatively. It's always, and my experience with Uganda Cranes teams, as well as with teams representing the country in many other sports disciplines, is that we find it difficult to start tournaments because it's always jitters, always nerves. I've seen it in basketball. I've seen it with cricket. I've seen it.
But we beat DRC mark in Cairo. I was in Cairo when we beat DRC in the opener.
That one, yeah. But still, there was a result. But in terms of performance, there were times when we were unsure. Yeah. So that was a poor first half by Ugandan standards. When they came out in the second half, they'd had a talk. They'd pushed themselves perhaps and said, guys, we are better than this. We can perform. So the Cranes came and had a very good opening to the second half. They actually had a spell of all the way up to 20 minutes in which they played really, really well, created perhaps one or two half chances, which they didn't take.
Is it that the Cranes seized the initiative, or Algeria just sat back and managed the game?
It's not like they sat back. It's just that I think they got into the dressing room. Yeah. I believe, speaking from experience of what happens in these things, they got into the dressing room, looked themselves in the mirror and said, guys, we're better than this. I don't know if the coach kicked a few stools and threw a few chairs, Mole and Fred Mahomes and all. But what I know is that they must have said, guys, we have 30,000 plus people out there watching us and an entire other world on TV. And we are giving a terrible account of ourselves. They pushed themselves, came out there, got more positive because in the first half they barely got into Algeria's final third.
Yeah.
They were way too deep. Funny thing is that the irony of football is that Uganda played deep, and yet they were trying a high line. So they were pulling out and trying offside traps which were not working, and yet those meant that they would be pushing further up the pitch by pressing and playing that third, but they were not there either. So they were stuck in the middle of the pitch somewhere. Second half, they made amends. They started to push. You saw a great substitution that brought Karim Watambala onto the pitch, sent Alan Okello wide. Alan Okello came alive when he went. And
I'll say something about Watambala. Mark, I felt that if you're Mole Bekwaso, Vipers are double champions. They won the league, they won the Uganda Cup. There's a certain core, a Vipers core, which I felt needed to be on the field. They're quite experienced. At this level, they've played together, and they've got a chemistry, which I felt that Mole Bekwaso needed to build onto. On the back of the kind of season Alan has had, with players like Watambala, Yunus Sentam, who's got tons of experience in this competition, I felt they should have started in this game.
That's my belief as well.
As opposed to getting that young man, Wanyama, you can't fault him for an effort he put, though he was starved of genuine service.
Emmanuel
Wanyama, yes. But I thought I would have started with that core. I would even actually have gone as far as including in Marvin Youngman. Because they've played together.
Perhaps even Hilary Mukundane.
Even Hilary Mukundane. So that you have a certain core of a team which has been playing together. They have the chemistry, and then you fix in all the other parts to complete the jigsaw. And then you can bring the changes depending on how the game flows.
Because look, this is experience-wise. You thought that yes. For me, my belief is that especially Watambala should have started that game. But I believe that...
And Watambala has had a blinder of a season.
But Yunus Sentam as well. And because what's going to happen, Mark, is that we're going to be watching South Africa play their opener in this group. They didn't play. on the opening day.
Yeah.
And they're going to play their opener, and it's against Algeria. It's a tough one. And trust me, there'll be more Mamelodi Sundowns players on that pitch than any other.
Yes.
To bite into that cohesion.
And that's the game. I'm actually looking forward to the Uganda Cranes game, but I'm looking more forward to the
Algeria, South Africa.
game.
Yeah, but it also has an impact.
It has an impact on
how we perform,
yes,
and if we have a chance to qualify out of this group and get into the knockout phases. But look, yeah, so Uganda improved in the second half. Great change brings Watambala in. Alan Kelly goes wide and gets more involved. And as an inverted winger, and actually it brings us to life. Watambala, a few shots from outside.
I thought Kakande had a decent game.
Yeah,
his final pass was lacking, but he had a good game.
Stepped up in the second half, and actually, if you just went by stats, he probably had the most shots on target for Uganda. Because he was cracking them from distance as well. That meant that we were not that effective in the final third itself or inside the 18-yard area. But we had some shots from outside the area, put together a few passes, got the crowd screaming a bit. Because as you know, the Uganda Cranes crowd, they want you to give them a reason to yell. Yeah. They're not going to start to back you, to lift you. They want you to give them a reason.
When we consider the opening goal, Nambole became like a graveyard. It just went quiet.
So, because
in fact, you couldn't tell that Algeria had scored because there was silence.
I know.
And then
I know from experience that our crowd always are looking for you to give them a reason to cheer you rather than for them to lift you.
Yeah.
So what happened is that the Cranes gave them a reason for about 15-20 minutes of that half. The second goal was the killer, game down. The rest is history. Now, but
the third goal, Mark, is up among the finest goals ever scored at Nambole.
It was beautiful. It was beautifully executed, and actually, it was similar in the beauty of its execution.
To the one South Africa scored.
To the one Algeria scored against Uganda, the senior team. Yeah, the one in which Ali was left for dead.
I remember.
Exactly. This is why I was talking about Algeria and identity. Because now, after they've taken the lead, and you're trying to...
Actually, you're right. I'm not torn between...
That one and the other one, Because when you're pushing forward and they have a lead, this is what they're going to do to you on the break. Because of the ability, when you have numbers across the center line,
two things to point out here, Mark. Algeria, typically, we always struggled against North African teams. You remember that famous saying, we used to concede 6 to Tunisia. Algeria was one of the teams in which we fared a little better. I remember Hassan Mouirou's brace at Nachivuo in 1998. And then we went to Algiers, and we managed to force a 1-1 draw in Algiers, in North Africa. However, Algeria, first and foremost, no team had scored 3 goals against Uganda at Nambole before. So Algeria made that bit of history. They've beaten us back to back.
Yeah.
At Nambole. The only other country which has done that is South Africa.
South Africa.
South Africa right now.
There were so many years thrown in between those two games. This is quite back to back, literally.
It's quite back to back. We really, really have to get our act together, Mark. If in the game against Guinea, it's a World Cup final for Uganda.
Yeah.
Because if we lose that game, then we're staying at exit.
Yeah, staring at
and even for the organization of CHAN, you don't want the tournament to lose all this momentum with Uganda suffering an exit.
As the host.
You need the host nation to be in the tournament for as long as they possibly can.
Look, and it's very possible. I actually believe that Uganda will beat Guinea tomorrow. In this game.
Guinea looked good against Niger.
They were very good. They were better than Niger.
We always knew that they were going to be better.
Played a lot better than we did, so they come into that game as slight favorites, actually, the Guineans. But I believe that the Uganda Cranes can and will beat them because there are definitely going to be improvements. For starters, there's going to be reflection in that dressing room. I'm sure there's been reflection on the training pitch as well. The team that they pick, the changes that Mole and Mahomes are going to make are those informed by their performance against Algeria, but also informed by what can work against Guinea. Because Uganda is usually, we are more comfortable playing against similar sub-Saharan opposition than we are against North Africans.
Yeah.
That is historical. That's typical. Yeah. So however strong they are, they might be a Nigeria and all, but we'll struggle more against Libya than we do against Nigeria.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
It's just that has happened. It's all that way.
I got that premonition when Algeria walked out of the tunnel.
Yes, it's historical. It's been there. There's been a few changes now. Football has changed in such a way that we've kind of demystified that, but still the gap is there.
The gap is there.
But when it is fellow sub-Saharans,
we'll compete.
It doesn't matter how superior.
Even Senegal will compete against them.
Whether it's a Cameroon or Ghana or Nigeria, we will compete. Or an Ivory Coast. But what will happen is, I believe that. So you're going to see a more attacking side, a more attacking Uganda, one that creates and gets into the final third a little more. Guys are going to get more bold. That's what happens when your back's against the wall and you have little to lose. I mean, there's no way. Thankfully for Uganda, there's no way they're going to put in a performance worse than happened against Algeria.
Impossible.
So you're looking at that trio of players, Karim Watambala and Yunus Sentamo. Starting. I mean, I loved the fact that the coaches, I mean, people have blamed them, but I love the fact that Mole and Mahumza were bold enough to say, look, we are picking this team on merit, and Joel Serunjoji and Enoch Sebagala have performed best in training, and we're going to start them.
I thought they was beginning to play better than Sebagala was it the drone?
Yeah, exactly. Emmanuel Anyama, not Wanyama. Emmanuel Anyama has shown the ability to read the line because it's got the size, it's got the ingredients, and so we're going to start him. That boldness is okay, but now they're going to look to experience. Regardless, I mean, that is automatic. They're going to look to experience and change the team around, and I believe that then they're going to get the backing. Now, of course, one or two other things, Mark, are going to change off the pitch that I believe. One of those was one of the hitches, one of the glitches we had on the opening day was the fans' experience lacked the one bit about the cafeteria services.
Yeah, I mean it was a big.
The drinks and the food were not there because the cafeterias did not.
That was a big mistake on our part, which we regret.
Yeah,
should never have happened. I thought it put such a huge dampener on the day because it was a big challenge. I mean, it was a hot day. Yeah. There's no water in the stadium.
No water.
There's no bite. The fans are coming to watch two games. We apologize for that. And I think, obviously, and when I say we, I'm speaking as the communications and PR manager for the LOCF Secretariat. I think the Guinea game will be better and all the games that are left in the competition.
Yeah. Look.
So we've managed, I'll spare the details, but at least it was an issue, internal issue. Involving the OLC and
the service providers.
It's been addressed.
Yeah, so I know, Mark, that the fans are going to be better hydrated, better fed, and happier.
Yeah.
And I believe that they're going to be looking at opposition, which is a little more familiar with what they believe Uganda can actually be.
Yes.
And it will manifest itself in the kind of noise they generate in that stadium in there. One of the things I'm thankful about is that I've been going around social media and seeing. And I realized that despite the fact that this looked like a dampener that might spoil attendances, there's still that hope. There's still the...
No, the buzz is there.
The buzz is still there.
And tomorrow is a Friday, so people are buying tickets very fast.
Yeah.
They've bought tickets. Unlike the other game, which was on a Monday, you can expect people to start getting into the stadium as early as 3 because they don't want to miss the first game.
Because of South Africa versus Algeria, they'll be there.
Arguably the best game in Group C.
In Group C.
Of all the matches, with all due respect to Uganda Cranes. So you're going to have a number which is packed to the rafters. And I think that is going to have a positive effect on the team Mole Bakers is going to put out there against Guinea. Uganda Cranes will get a result because they have to get a result.
Yeah,
I don't see them not failing.
They must, So when I look at it, all of that is going to fall into place. There were some hitches as well with acquisition of tickets with some of the fans that were challenged in securing them online. The fans are better now, and they still yet managed to buy all of them.
Yes.
But and now they are more practiced about buying tickets online.
And for the fans out there, Mark, it's good to mention this. It's very, very important because football is a game which is dynamic. There are many things which are always changing. Nothing is static. And the culture which we are trying to embrace in this CHAN is what happens all over the world.
Yeah.
tickets are bought with a cashless system.
Yes.
This era of going to a booth, of going to Hardware World, of going to Mango to buy tickets, City Oil, Kamocha, it's being phased out for various other reasons. Because in your comfort of your living room or on your toilet seat, actually, you can buy a ticket. You don't have to go to a border to endanger yourself through the traffic of going to Nakula, of going to Mango.
I know, listen.
They're stepping onto you. You can just buy the ticket. You haven't spent any penny. And you can even buy 5 tickets. And even when your phone is stolen, your ticket is safe because in your email.
Yeah.
Now, your physical ticket, if it falls, or if it's torn, or if whatever happens to it, you have to look for another.
You're in trouble, yeah. But Mark, look, listen, this is what's happening all over the world. Opening game of the season 2022-2023, you and I just got into the UK, made some phone calls, and things happened. The tickets dropped onto our phones. We flashed our phones at Old Trafford.
And we entered.
At the entrance, and there we were
watching
Brighton beat
It was such a very, very smooth, seamless system. The only problem is that Brighton beat United.
Yeah, that's what's happening. But that's what happens everywhere, even in Africa now, for AFCON and CHAN and everything. And to be honest, because one of the things that I had going around was a little inaccurate about Ugandans and their abilities actually to use modern tech in that sense, because the same fan base that you have is the one of the people who actually have smartphones are using them to do things like betting on a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
Yeah, there are thousands, millions of Ugandans betting daily online. Guys who you would think maybe were semi-illiterate or illiterate completely and all. But they've all been educated in the bit about the use of smartphones and how to get their football on those smartphones.
Exactly.
They watch their games, their pre-season friendlies,
and how to cash out early.
They do all this every day. So,
and even that same group of Ugandans, that same age bracket of Ugandans are the ones who are doing all this content creation and content generation on TikTok.
Yeah, they're all on TikTok. Yeah, there's millions of them on TikTok. So you can't say that Ugandans are not smartphone savvy. I think they are. But anyways, never mind.
And maybe for the record, AFCON 2027 is going to be a purely paperless cashless system for etiquette.
We had better get ourselves.
So we'd better get ourselves. If you don't know how this thing works, just ask a friend to teach you how it works. Buying the ticket you don't spend more than 30 seconds with your phone, maximum 1 minute. As long as you have Airtel money or you have mobile money or you have a card, MasterCard or Visa, it's very, very smooth.
One of the things I believed were a success, Mark, about our opening day, despite the glitches we had with cafeteria services and then also a bit on the ticketing and then also the match itself, was some of the things that will happen outside. And of course, I'll blow a bit of the trumpet there because it was from our committee.
Yeah.
The train.
You're fully allowed to blow the trumpet.
The train ferried, free of charge, thanks to Kibo Media and all. The train ferried thousands upon thousands of fans because they did many trips. And
Brilliant.
On a Friday, it's going to be even more useful than on a Monday evening because of traffic issues.
And it's most useful, Mark, because there's no parking. If you don't have a sticker, you have no business going with your car because you won't access the stadium.
Yes, so it's going to be
only cars with stickers are allowed inside the first gate of the stadium,
Yeah.
So then the type of sticker will determine whether you're in the outer ring of the stadium or in the inside fence of the stadium.
Yeah.
But so the
we also had fun packs, Mark. We had a fun pack in Gulu.
It was spectacular. I'm told it was spectacular.
Yeah, we had a fun pack in Kings Park, where you're getting it.
Wow.
Which was spectacular.
Just a stone throw away from
performances and all sorts of food and drink, which we didn't have in the stadium.
Wow.
And just a great atmosphere. The only thing, of course, that didn't happen was that win. So Friday is going to be a real party.
And Friday's fun pack is going to be in Mbarara, the land of milk and honey. So you can imagine.
Yeah, as well as
how special that will be.
Kings Park and etc. here. But anyways, so the Cranes have this game against Guinea, and then 3 days later they play against Niger, and then last group game a week after Niger will be the one against South Africa. I just wanted to end my own take about the Uganda Cranes and its fortunes on this note, is that I still believe in the Cranes getting a result against Guinea. I believe in the Cranes squeezing through into the knockout phases. It's going to be tough. It's a tough call But look, usually I bombard people with a lot of history and of things that they didn't see because I'm a bit older than them and all the current generation of fans and all. So I won't go so far back to tell them that I've seen reversals in opening group fixtures, which have been overturned by teams. I'll just use two very current examples, which nobody can have an excuse to not have seen. One was the last AFCON and how Ivory Coast started their group and how they were eventually champions by beating Nigeria 2-1 in the final. When they lost 4-0 to Equatorial Guinea in the group stages, and then lost also to Nigeria.
They even sacked the coach.
Yeah, because they qualified as one of the third best placed teams because they beat Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah.
They sacked a coach. Everybody thought these were the worst hosts ever. They squeezed through on mathematics, and at the end of the tournament, they were winning it. They were lifting the trophy. Sebastian Haller scoring that winner against Nigeria.
You can even cite the example of Spain in 2010.
2010, yeah.
They lost the opening game and they came into the World Cup as favourites.
Yes, yeah.
And then everyone wrote them off because this was Spain, the perennial chokers.
They lost the first game, yeah.
They never lost
again,
the game.
I was sitting right there with you in South Africa watching this, and then these guys go on and lose, and everybody's like, these guys are
to Switzerland, yes.
Yeah, they ended up winning the tournament, beating the Netherlands in the final. But even more recent, Mark, is that Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia in their opener in the Qatar at the World Cup, and you're right there. And everybody was like, what's up, Messi and the hype of Argentina and everything, to Saudi Arabia. They were lifting the trophy at the end of it, having beaten France in the final. These things, Argentina and Ivory Coast
what Mark is saying,
in the last 2-3 years,
so
that's why
what Mark is saying is that you want your worst experiences, your worst match to be the opening game. That's the time where you can have a bad game.
Because then you can recover.
Because you can recover. From then on, you can only get better.
Yeah.
You don't
because if it's a knockout and you have the kind of game against Algeria,
you're exiting. You're home.
Or if it's the group decider. This was far from being a group decider.
You're home. But Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot on this one.
Yeah.
So the former president, Engineer Moses Magogo, came out with a tweet which has caused a lot of controversy. And he's saying that, what did we expect in a match against a team like Algeria? Our players are not at their level. What is your honest take? I'll put you on the stop.
The honest take is that he was right. He was brutally honest about the fact that we're not at the same level as Algeria. Nobody can contest that bit, that we are not. But, well, I believe that he should not have said it. I don't know if he wanted it as exactly how he wanted to. I believe he shouldn't have said it. This is because of two things. One, Mark, when you're the FIFA president, you can get misunderstood. And two, you can actually
Mark, let me read it out. So that I don't misquote him. I just want to read the actual tweet which was posted on his handle. Because there's been a lot of fury and storm about it, because it. Sorry, you're saying?
Yeah, no, there's fury. No, it's okay. I know what the contents of the tweet are.
Yes.
And like you said, it's about us not being at the same level as Algeria in terms of players. But let me say, Mark.
Should he be saying these things?
No, he shouldn't, because it was always going to be, and I'm not defending him because I don't know his context, but it was always easy to take that kind of tweet out of context, one, and it's possible that it was, but two, being misunderstood. The two things I talked about, being misunderstood, one, and two, being a dampener or a demoralizer.
Yeah.
Those are the things, those are the reasons perhaps why he shouldn't have said it. But there was no running away from the fact that Algerians, their league is superior to Uganda's, and their players on.
So he says every well-meaning Ugandan would love to see the Uganda Cranes beat Algeria, but we need to be very honest and realistic. Do we have players playing at the same level like their Algerian counterparts? Someone will say that it should be us asking him that question, and not him asking us, because as the head of the FA, he should be providing answers.
No, his question was not necessarily a question. It was just rhetorical.
Yes, rhetorical.
It was just rhetorical. Well, he was basically putting it out there that we don't have the players.
I think
hopefully behind closed doors in the dressing room,
for me,
players, that's not what he's telling them.
Typically, there are some things which Mark would not say. We say things which are appropriate. We don't say things which are the truth. Many times. There are some things which I think he should be addressing. There should be a right forum to address them, but not on this my take, on a social media page which is going to be misconstrued by so many other people.
No, it's the way, the nature of social media these days is that this happens. I mean, it's happening with presidents of countries. It's happening. I mean, this is where social media has gone.
Yeah.
This is how people express themselves boldly on their timelines. In there, you take it or leave it, and that's so. Look, I've seen all the fury and everything, and I can understand why people are furious and everything. Like I told you, I don't think he should have done it. My defense of the FIFA president is only on two texts. One, that he was right, and two, that perhaps the context of this tweet. I'm wondering if he wanted exactly how he wanted to. That for me comes in. Maybe he didn't.
Social media it doesn't give you a chance to try to understand and dig deeper to see whether someone was trying to word it the way he would have wanted.
That's the thing, but
I mean, it's out there, and people will interpret it the way they can.
It's Moses Makoko. The engineer Moses Makoko. You know he can't defend himself. So I'm not too worried about that. The thing, though, is that inside the dressing room and at the training ground, I'm hoping he's actually telling those players they are good enough.
Because Mark, this team, Mark, my point is, this Chan team is young. Emmanuel,
we just talked about guys. Sebagala, Serunjoji, and Nyama were playing at this level for the very first time. So were Gideon Odongo and Arnold Odongo.
That kind of treat is not going to. It will be managed and processed better by Khalid Aucho or Bevis Mugabe. Because they've experienced it all. They played at the highest level. But these are kids.
Or Mohamed Shaban. The guys who play on the senior
But some of these are kids, and you don't want to break their spirits when you're the very person who should be actually be morale boosting them on a forum or on a platform which is as vitriolic as the one which X offers.
But listen, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think that's what Engineer Makoko is telling us.
That is you, Maxani.
I don't think that's what he's telling the players when he talks to them at the training ground. That is
you, Maxali, but not the millions of users. If you had to follow,
how many of those players are on X anyway and
well, but they have friends. They have friends. They have friends. They have family. They have people, and these things get to them.
Look. Engineer Makoko should be motivating his players and telling them they are good enough to compete.
Absolutely.
And I believe that's what he says in the dressing room and on the training ground.
And I mean, the president of the country promised the players 1.2 billion shillings per win. So whatever you tweet there, I want to think, if I was in Engineer Makoko's position, would be to help the players get that 1.2 billion for every game. They still have how many more games to get replenish their pockets? Beat Guinea tomorrow, beat Niger, beat South Africa, get into the knockouts, and you're going to be getting almost $10,000 for every victory. So whatever Engineer Moses Makoko tweets should be helping the players channel all their energies in that direction, and not appear to dissuade or demotivate them.
Look, and I'm speaking from a point of logic, a basic logic, because I'm not in his mind. But I know, of course, that Engineer Makoko, from a logical standpoint, would want for those players to win that money, and that is going to encourage them to do that, the money from the president. Because even, apart from the fact that it motivates them and enriches their lives and makes them better and all, it takes some financial pressure off him and the federation if they're actually getting reward from the head of state, because that reward is expected from him and the federation under the circumstances. So if that pressure is being taken off him by head of state, I think he would welcome it. I believe he does. So that's in my defense of him. That's what I would say. But Mark, ultimately, all in all, it is 3 matches that Uganda have got to win to qualify. They might be able to qualify by winning two of them and drawing one, but that is going to be really tough. The best way now is to beat Guinea, to beat Niger, and to beat South Africa on the last day of the group stages.
Yeah,
because South Africa might need those points by the time we get to them as well.
Which is why, and like I said, and I know, Mark, you've moved on from this, the issue we were discussing earlier. Right now, the boys need to look forward. All the energies need to look forward. The the mindset of the players, the psyche of the players must be to take care of Guinea. The most important game for Uganda right now is Guinea. Those 90 minutes will determine how important the games against Nigeria and South Africa are.
Yeah, the whole tournament, basically.
Yes, for Uganda.
For Uganda, both on the pitch and off it. Now
the 90 minutes at Nambole on Friday.
But Mark, all I would like to see from our players is more boldness, especially beyond the center line. The middle third and the final third. Ability to pass, to avail themselves for passes and to pass well, to be able to take on and beat men, to be bold in execution in the box, without fear. Shoot when you have to. Pass when you have
and
to.
Maybe
believe you can score.
And Mark, you hinted.
And it will happen.
You hinted on this.
Guinea are not Algeria.
Like we said,
not Morocco.
Like we said, this team is full of mostly young players. This was the first time they were playing before such a crowd. At the highest level.
At such a level.
So, whether you like it or not, your shoulders are bound to sag. You're bound to feel the pressure. I thought some of them were frozen on the day.
Yeah.
And they never just got out of their shell.
When they got bold, Mark, the second goal came as a killer.
It came as a killer.
That is a demoralizer.
Yeah.
And
especially the timing of the second goal.
Yeah. I mean, many teams can fight back from that position. I don't think the Cranes could. But that was the first game and it's out of the way. They're wiser for it. They're better for it. I believe that they will be the stronger for it. Second game onwards. So let's go for it.